I want to thank this user for inspiring me to create this video, as they basically opened the door of Supple magazine for me to pass through and never be the same again. Thank you, babes! Hello, shining, shimmering drama queens! Welcome back to the Drama House. My name is Lady Drama, and today we're going to take a look at yet another forgotten life sim game from the past that I didn't mention in my previous video on the subject because, well, I had no clue this game existed, even because, unfortunately, I couldn't find any evidence that the game was ever made available to non-English speaking markets, and back in 2008, I was not yet comfortable enough to play a game that wasn't translated in my language, especially such a story-driven one.
Aaron, this is an office, not a frat party. You should know better. You're fired.
Before we start exploring the world of Supple, its sequel Supple 2, what the game was like and why it didn't find the strong ground to be recognized as a possible competitor to the Sims franchise, I think it's necessary we look at the context in which the game existed.
Good. Turn off your phone. That's my advice.
Party line. Hello. Oh, my sister's here.
Pretty good, evidently. Feels like being stoned, apparently.
It's not a mystery that fashion and its fascinating, glamorous world has always been influential and pretty connected to mainstream media. But I feel that in the early 2000s, we experienced a different obsession as we kind of got an opening to what goes on behind the scenes of fashion, with some emphasis toward the harshness of the fashion world. In 2003, Miss Lauren Weisberger wrote the soon-to-be best-selling novel called The Devil Wears Prada. In the book, a small-town girl fresh out of college lands the job a million girls would die for. Hired as the assistant to Miranda Priestley, the high-profile successful editor of Runway magazine, Andrea finds herself in an office that shouts Prada, Armani, Versace, a world populated by stylish women and men. Her boss, Miranda, seems to be able to turn each and every one of these hip people into a scared, whimpering child. 3 years later, in 2006, the book will get a movie adaptation with stunning performances by Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt, and Stanley Tucci. The Devil Wears Prada movie puts into visuals all those scenes set in the curated yet chaotic BTS of a fashion magazine, without any fears to portray the mean girl antics of a world where no one is perfect enough. The aspirational yet cruel vibe of these stories will serve in the entire 2003 to 2010 period, with the release of shows like America's Next Top Model, The Rachel Zoe Project, but also The Hills and The City, giving many of us the possibility to wonder, would I be able to sell my soul and my mental health to get a job, to get an influential position in the fashion world? It seems this question is the exact premise of Supple. Developed by iWin and first released in 2008, the game focuses on the life of Erin Costello, a young professional aspiring to work in the fashion industry. The game takes place in the headquarters of Supple magazine, a nightmare workplace where naive Erin is hired as an associate editor and needs to beat her self-centered but sexy colleague Yu for the promotion to style editor. How do you do that? Use your life experience and savvy. Interact, talk, do a little schmoozing or insulting if necessary, drink coffee and eat snacks to keep your energy up. Earn money by working, use that money to buy clothing and impress your boss, Margot. And let me tell you, not getting fired is almost impossible unless you play on easy mode. Hugh is a total bootlicker who won't lose any points with the boss Margot, even when she catches him drunk on the job.
I'm not a fan of my employees being drunk on the job.
I know. And all that matters to me is you, Margot. I love you, man. In a respectful, corporate kind of way, of course. Okay, I'm gonna sober up now.
Here's a question for you. What is a rag?
I would love to answer you, Margot, but I'm in a very vulnerable place right now. Hold me.
What?
If I had a dime for every time you flaked out on me, Hugh, I'd be able to leave you and this lousy magazine.
Oh. Okay.
And Margot, she'll get you fired if you're wearing jeans, baby.
Hey, Aaron, nice loungewear. On your way back to the beach, stop by the unemployment office. You're fired.
And she'll try catching you off guard with questions about fashion terminology to then fire you during your end of the day review.
Oh, Aaron, how depressing. I had such high hopes for you. You failed.
And yeah, every time you're fired, it's a game over. The game UI shows you how Erin is feeling throughout the day, her anger, energy, and drunkenness levels.
But I'm in a very vulnerable place right now. Hold me.
It will also show Erin's confidence and how both Margot and Hugh feel about Erin. The perks page displays the points Erin receives as consequences of the player's choices by grouping perks by bitch, fashion, romance, and ego, which is like so chaotically amazing. Clearly aimed at gamers who enjoy life simulation and narrative-driven games, the game received mixed reviews. Some players appreciated its engaging and relatable gameplay, while others found it repetitive over time. Players and reviewers often compared Supple to The Sims, as certain elements in Supple would remind users of The Sims during the gameplay. And when iWin decided to release the second episode of the Supple series in 2009, they decided to expose these similarities with no shame whatsoever.
Having a fun, it's definitely that.
Hugh, what's the matter with you?
What happened? Was I speaking in tongues or something?
Worse, you were talking like one of them. Any second you could have wet yourself and set the whole place on fire.
God.
Girl, I'm living for the shade in this trailer. I've watched this way too many times now, and it doesn't cease to amaze me. Supple 2 is definitely my favorite of the two games, not only for the better graphics, but also because Erin is no longer a minion struggling to make it to the end. The game is expanded, more engaging, and definitely easier to play. In Supple 2, we follow Erin as she made it to style editor and is now tasked with more responsibilities and gets to interact with new characters. First of all, Huey is now a subordinate of Erin, so yeah, in your face, Hugh. While Margot remains Erin's boss, but I'd say she's less obsessed with micromanagement as she responds to our emails from the gym. Then we got two new characters, Ruby and Trevor. Ruby's role is similar to Hugh, meaning Erin can ask both Ruby and Hugh to make some research for her whenever she's tasked with writing an article.
How's not doing some research for me?
Sounds like a plan. What you got? Okay, I'll get on it.
Trevor is Erin's direct competition as his job title mirrors hers, and her goal is to beat him whenever she's assigned with an article to write. Also, Trevor is British and everyone seems to fancy him so much.
I bought this amazing piece of Kiki Rodriguez art this past weekend. It's a bronze sculpture of a nude riding a horse.
The available game locations have now expanded as well, as players can visit Supple headquarters, where Hugh and Ruby have their desks, the store where to upgrade Erin's wardrobe pieces, the employee lounge, which is where the vending machines are, the restaurant, which is the go-to place during lunch break, and Erin's personal office, where her desk and computer are located, allowing her to write articles and taking courses to improve her skills and the quality of her work. Although both Supple and Supple 2 have some very fun and kind of addictive game mechanics and that sassy fashionista vibe that was so attractive to many young players back in the first decade of the 2000s, the title didn't manage to maintain a lasting impact on the genre, and as per today, its legacy has died out. But why? As I mentioned, Supple definitely offered a more narrow and focused experience compared to The Sims. While this focus on a single character's career and personal life provided a unique narrative-driven approach, it also limited the variety and depth of gameplay. Players found that the game could become repetitive over time as the tasks and interactions didn't vary significantly. This reduced replay value and long-term engagement. Also, unlike larger titles that receive continuous updates, expansions, and active community support, Supple didn't see significant post-release development or new content. This limited its ability to keep players engaged in the long term. It also seems that the game targeted more of a niche audience, limited its initial reach and long-term visibility. Without significant marketing efforts or widespread recognition, it struggled to maintain a large player base. It's also important to know that Supple was primarily a browser-based game, which inherently limited its technical capabilities compared to downloadable or console-based games. As gaming technology advanced, Supple struggled to keep up with newer, more graphically and technically advanced games, making it less appealing over time. Erin's quest for success may have been short, but, in my opinion, very sweet. There's a part of me that wishes Supple got an extreme makeover, presenting a new chapter to it, powered by today's game engines, with a longer story filled with objectives and twists and turns. Maybe it's the nostalgia of those years with the calendar quickly approaching my own 30th birthday, but reviving Supple for my research had me thinking about how the live sim genre got narrowed down throughout the years. It seems that games similar to Supple with a more limited scope than The Sims have all taken the path of mobile gaming, slowly removing the ambition of the gameplay itself to focus on microtransaction and paywalls. And as I continue to look into the past of live simulation games, I keep on hoping for a renaissance that will give us more challenging and ambitious options. But now, let's continue this conversation in the comment section below. Let me know if you ever played Supple and if there are more titles you'd like for me to explore. The comments you shared on my previous video, a deep dive into the Sims challengers from the past, were very inspiring and gave me plenty of ideas for the upcoming content. If you've missed the video, feel free to watch it now, and before you go, don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the history of Supple. While you're at it, do join me at the Drama House by hitting the subscribe button. Thank you so much for stopping by today. My name is Lady Drama, and I hope I'll see you very soon.